Good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this big, beautiful, and messy world. I hope you find it in a place of goodness. I'm Carol C.C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chat, where our intention and attention is to help heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. So, join me in comments. I will come in and say hello. Let me know where you're joining me from, and let me know if you're new to my work because it's always nice to welcome new people into this community. I love the fact that we tend to have people from all over the world join me here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 11:30 Chicago time, 11:30 a.m. Chicago time. So, welcome, Judith. Good to see you, and hugs right back to you. I'm not sure if you're aware, maybe you are, but I'm a big hugger. Been doing global hugs since 2008, have been off for a few years because of COVID, but hoping to engage in it again this September, which I will announce soon, if it's safe to do so. I will make sure that we're able to do that once again. Welcome, Javier and Ralph. Good to see you here. So, before we get started with today's topic, I do want to mention a couple of things just so you know a little bit more about me. And one is I'm not an absolutist. I'm not a fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good or bad. There's 7 billion people on this planet. I can't begin to know what is always right for 7 billion people. So I work on the majority for my personal life and with people that I coach. Majority being 0, always negative, 100, always positive. My work is to be in the 80 to 100% the majority of the time. So that means fear visits me, frustration visits me, negativity visits me, anger, all of those normal feelings visit me. But because of my daily twos, my daily tools, they don't last as long because I focus on what I want to feel like. I want to be who I want to be more than focusing on what I don't want in my life. So that's the one main thing that you will hear me say the words always on occasion and possibly never, but it's rare that I use them because again, I'm not a big believer in it being that um, always this way or never that way. And the second thing is I'm a coach. I love supporting people in creating the dreams of their life, the life they want to live. I am not a counselor nor am I a therapist. And sometimes people need that kind of support to live their best life. I'm a believer that you're worthy of living your best life, whatever that looks like. So whether it's a coach, me, somebody else, a counselor, a therapist, a clergy member, if that's what works for you, your best friends, I encourage you to come up with that support team that is going to help you live your best life. So I am not about to, well, I maybe no, I'm not going to try your name because I will mess it up. So I believe your last name is Pachel, Ponchel. Hello, and Carmela, welcome. It's February 1st, and you're in Phoenix, Arizona. Yes, so I am currently in the Gulf Coast on the panhandle of Florida. I will be heading back to Chicago, where I live, on Friday. So wish me well that there is no snowstorms on the way home. I've been enjoying my time here for a while to be in a little bit of a sunnier environment, but I do love my Chicago, so I'll be excited to get back to it. But today's topic is brought to you. Let me see. I want to make sure I've been trying to write down who asked these questions for me. Pooja asked with how to deal with negative feelings. So we're going to talk about that today. And if you, again, if you're not hello, let's talk here, Carol. If you're not familiar with my work, what I like to do is take a word, go with a definition, create an affirmation around it, and then come up with some tips to be able to move through what we're talking about today. So, the definition of negative is marked by denial, prohibition, or refusal, lacking positive qualities. Again, the word negative, marked by denial, prohibition, or refusal, lacking positive qualities. So, when we're being negative about something, we are denying it, we're not allowing it in, we are pushing ourselves away from what we want. And as we just said a minute ago, or I said a minute ago, I'm not an always or never person. Negativity is part of our world, it's part of our daily life. Promise you, I have negative thoughts going on all day long. So it's about being, in the majority of the time, is when I'm focused on being kind, loving, compassionate, peaceful, and positive. Negative thoughts, negative words, negative actions still are part of our life. So it's not about pretending they don't exist, but it's how we're going to move through them. So we're going to come up with an affirmation. And if you're not familiar with affirmations, it's just simply a statement. You're affirming something. So affirmation is not positive or negative, it's you're affirming something. So we're going to focus on positive affirmations because when you say to yourself, I'm not very smart, you're affirming the lack in you. When you say to yourself, I am very smart, you're affirming the good in you. And I don't even like using the good and lack. Hope you understand what I mean by that. However, if you say, I am very smart and keep affirming that, but in the back of your head, you know you've just done something that was not very smart, so you're already negating it, then that affirmation, although positive, is not a good affirmation for you in that moment. So it might be, I am in the process of feeling very smart, or you would just change it up completely. Because what we're doing with affirmations, when we're saying them repeatedly, again, I'm talking about daily practices that we do. So when you keep repeating an affirmation, you're putting it into your thought process. So eventually it's going to be on just, you're going to hear it in your head without even having to think about it. So we're replacing our negative self talk, some things that may have been said to us as children, whether it was teachers, parents. And a lot of that stuff wasn't even meant to be harmful, but maybe we took it as harmful. Maybe we took it as our parents, our teachers, our siblings did not think we were very good. So then we started to think that about ourselves. So affirmations are to replace that. You want them to be believable because as soon as you say, no, that's not true, then that affirmation is not going to be a good one for you personally. So today's affirmation is I choose to focus on positive thoughts, words, and actions. And again, it's I choose to focus on positive thoughts, words, and actions. So my focus is the majority of the time, I'm focusing on what I want in my life, who I want to show up in my life, what I want my life to look like. That's what my focus is on, and love, kindness, compassion, and peace. Those are my top four values that I live my life by and that I do within my coaching practice as well. So, when Pooja mentioned how to deal with negative feelings, I think one of the big things for me is they're not bad. Like I think we can get into such a polarized thing that it's has to always be good or always be wrong and things like that. But our negative emotions and feelings, they want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged, and they want to be tended to. So it's not about beating yourself up for having them. I was looking to find out because I've seen different numbers. So by no means do I know that these are accurate numbers, but this is what I had found that we have 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And this one that I was looking at said 80% of them are negative. And a lot of those are we repeat that negative talk. Now, the reason they say that we have more negative thoughts than positive ones is for survival. It's a self mechanism to protect ourselves. So if we feel this way, we can't get hurt because we've already put that protective layer of of negative thoughts, words, or actions around us to protect us from that. So know that you're gonna have negative thoughts, you're gonna have negative feelings, possibly negative words, and probably negative actions too. So I really encourage you, Pooja, and whoever else feels like they are stuck in the negativity more, so, like, if you're in a let me turn my phone off. I usually do before I get on here. So, if you are in on the scale of 0 to 100, if you're 51 and above, focus on what you want, focus on the positive, then that negativity is lessened from you. But if you find yourself because of a challenge you're going through, when we're dealing with challenges, it's really hard to be positive about it. It's possible, but it's more difficult. Then we're going to want to be more gentle with ourselves. So, first is to acknowledge it, to be aware that you don't feel good, that you feel sad, that you feel frustrated, that you feel lonely, that you feel angry, whatever that negative feeling and emotion is, be aware of it because it wants to be heard. And the more that you're able to listen to it and pretend it doesn't exist, then you're going to be able to help it dissipate just simply by listening to it and feeling your feels first. Then we move forward into feeling a little bit better. But it's to acknowledge where you are right now. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just where you are right now. My second tip is to write down what your negative emotions are right now, like today. Maybe they're different tomorrow. But if you're feeling lonely, write down that. Write down maybe the people that disappoint you, or the people who frustrate you, or the people who irritate you. Write down anything that you're focused on that is a heavier energy and that doesn't feel good to you. So write that list down. I'm trying to think of other things it could be. There could be so many different things. But I want you then to write down, after you've got that list, then I want you to go to each one of those and come up with something positive about it. Like maybe you did something today that you felt was a failure. Think about something in the past that at that moment, it's really easy to go into the negative in the moment. And then after we're through it, is generally when we can see a little bit about, oh, I learned a lot about myself. Oh, I learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was because I made it through that hard time. So then come back with it and come up with a positive experience from that experience that you thought was negative that was holding you back from living your best life. And when I say holding you back, it's just what we focus on generally is what we allow to grow. That's what the energy we're giving it to grow. So the more we're focused on what we don't want, we're giving that the energy to grow. Again, can't stress enough. It's not right or wrong. It's where you're at. And the more that you're aware of your feelings, whether they're happy or whether they're sad, is where you can make the adjustments for them. When we're on autopilot, life is living us. We are not living life. When we're aware of our feelings, when we're aware of our thoughts, aware of our words and actions, then we could say, this feels good, continue on, or this doesn't feel good. Let's take a small step to feel a little bit better. So I encourage you to write that list. First list of what stresses you out, what's keeping you in that negative emotion, and it could very well be justified reasons for it being negative. So know that too, and then write a list of some positive aspects of either that personal experience you're going through right now or an experience from your past that was similar that you grew from because of that experience. So, those are the things I would like you to do. And then step into gratitude. Gratitude um, is easier when things are going well for sure, but they're also very helpful on those hard days, in those hard moments. And sometimes it's about going back to being what you're grateful for that we often take for granted. I don't have to ask my body to breathe. I don't have to ask my body for its heart to beat. And I take that for granted because it's not something I have to do. So sometimes if I'm going through a really hard time, and I try to actually add that to my gratitude list on a daily basis anyway, but I'm grateful that I'm breathing on my own. I'm grateful that my heart beats on its own. Now, if you're somebody who has medical issues and need medical assistance to breathe or for your heart to work properly, be grateful for that advanced technology that allows you to breathe, that allows your heart to beat. Be grateful that you have a warm bed to sleep in. Be grateful for the sun. Be grateful for the snow, whatever it is, but look for things to be grateful for. And I don't remember, it was last week, maybe it was Tuesday, to do thank you. And there's a practice, thank you in Japanese is arigato. So it's about being thankful for what you're receiving and thankful for what you're giving as well. So when you stay in that space of gratitude and thankfulness, then you're going to create a lot more from that space. Will fear visit you when you're in a space of gratitude? It could. You might lose your focus for a moment. I don't know that it's possible to be 100% positive. Actually, I don't think it is. But there's 7 billion people. So there may be some people who are always positive. I don't know anybody. I certainly know people who are closer to the 100, and I know people who are closer to the zero too. But it's about knowing where you're at, feeling where you're at, and moving forward to feeling a little bit better. So I encourage you to know it's common to have negative feelings and emotions and thoughts. As this study said that I looked at, it said 80% of what we're our thoughts are negative thoughts. So it's a survival technique. And in that study, it was like most people are born that way. Some people are born more with that positive. I don't know, you want to call it gene or not, but some people are predispositioned to think of the good more than they think of it in a negative way, but the majority of people come from that survival mode of the thought process being more negative to begin with. And the more you're aware of it, the more you acknowledge it, the more you focus on what you want in your life rather than what you don't want in your life, then you're going to start growing from that. And it's also to acknowledge that not going to say everybody, but the vast, vast, vast majority of us are going to have hard times in our life, going to have challenges in our life, going to have things that we don't like happen in our life. And the more that we find some gratitude, the gentleness, the forgiveness within it, the easier it will be to move through those processes. So that's what we got for you today. The word is negative and how to deal with your negative feelings and emotions. One tip that I did not say, but I think it's important, is it's part of the awareness. But when you're aware that you're not feeling well or aware that you're frustrated or anything less than, it gives you the opportunity to pause. It gives you the opportunity to ask yourself, why does what they just said hurt so much? Why is it that I'm frustrated about this? And then you can figure out ways to work through it without spewing your loneliness, your fear, your anger, your frustration at other people who may not deserve it. And even if they do, quote, undeserve it, do you want to be that person? Do you want to be the person who is angry all the time? Do you want to be the person who is mad, who is lonely, who is scared, who is fearful all the time? It's a daily practice, and I encourage you to give it a try. It's not easy sometimes, and sometimes it is easy. It just depends on where you're at in your life, on where you feel you are on that scale of 0 to 100, 0 being always negative, 100 being always positive. I again focus on the 80 to 100. If you're at a 40, maybe you start focusing on being at the 50 mark. If you're at 50, maybe you focus on making it to 60. Again, not a right or wrong. It's where you're at, who you want to be, and how you want to show up in life. So that is what we've got for you today. Again, the affirmation is I choose to focus on positive thoughts, words, and actions. I would encourage you to use that one or come up with something else that you can affirm for yourself moving forward to focus more on what you want, positive, rather than focusing on what you don't want, the negative. Negative, if it's going to be there, it's part of our lives, and sometimes it's helpful. Well, it's often helpful because one thing, it acts as a barometer saying this doesn't feel good. What will feel a little bit better if you choose to move through it instead of get stuck in it? So I'm going to come into comments, see if there's any questions. And also, if you have any topics you would like me to cover in future Embrace Your Life chats, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, let me know that too. And I will write them down and add them to the list because I think I only have one more. I mean, I'll come up with something for sure anyway, but I do like to know what the community would like to hear. Hi, Sue. Hi, Tori. Greetings from Sylvia is from London. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you. Well, thank you. The writing exercise, like a good way. Yes. Yes, absolutely, Tori. And it's really helpful in almost anything that writing exercise is to write down what you don't like and then change it into what you do like. I use it a lot for people, like even in job changes. Like I don't like a overbearing boss. I like a boss who is collaborative. So you look at what you don't like. You're not going to spend a lot of time there because you don't want to get stuck in that. But then you're going to turn it into what it is that you do like. And sometimes that's what's helpful. We learn a lot about ourselves and we learn a lot about what we do want in life from experiencing what we don't like in life. So think about it that way too. It looks like I have gotten to everyone. Carmela, oh yeah, you're in Phoenix, Arizona. I've got lots of friends in Arizona. Chula Vista, California is in the house. So welcome. And somebody said safe travels. Thank you. Oh, New Mexico is in the house as well. Thank you. I know Chicago is supposed to be getting snow Wednesday, Thursday. So that's why I'm staying until Friday. So hopefully the roads will be clear because I think it's like 14 hours. So I'm going to break it up into 2 days. But hopefully clear roads ahead for that. I will be here tomorrow and I will be here Thursday with another Embrace Your Life chat. Please add in comments if there's a topic you would like me to cover. And if it's something I feel comfortable covering, I will be happy to bring a little bit more love, kindness, compassion, and peace to that topic. So go out there and have a day filled with love, kindness, compassion, and peace for yourself, for those around you, and for the world at large. And take care of yourselves. And remember, you matter. You matter to me. you matter to the world, and most importantly, you matter to you. We'll talk soon, tomorrow. Leave any comments. I will come back later today to see if there's any more questions about negativity or questions about what you would like me to talk about in a future conversation. Have a good one. So long for now.